I mean, it might be just because I'm so in it, but I truly feel like the new normal is going to be tech co-founder and influencer co-founder. And
I can see that.
There's so many people that have an audience, have influence, have a lot of skills when it comes to maybe not traditional product design and, you know, understanding the exact life cycle of a product, but they can get there if they understand how to build anything.
If you are a YouTube creator, you have to be an incredible empathetic person to understand your audience, to make something for them. And that's just the truth. And that's product.
Yeah, and that's
actually
translates.
product.
Yeah.
That's exactly what product is.
Yeah. And so what do you see, and this is like a very selfish question too, since, you know, behind the scenes on YouTube, I'm building my own thing with my friend Adam, a creative software. What is the biggest hurdle that you think this new dynamic duo is going to encounter? Because it is a little not normal. It's a little new. And essentially you're saying, oh, this person also has another job, another very public facing job. So what do you think is going to be some of the good and some of the bad that's going to come from that?
I mean, there are lots of, I think about Casey and, you know, and Beam, right? And that, I mean, I think that was one of the best possible situations where, you know, I think that from the outside anyway, it looked like they had a great sort of connection between like the you know, product and tech team and Casey, and that it really worked well together. And that's sort of the model to me at some level is when it works, you know, can it work that way? You know, Mr. Beast is doing fascinating things with apps today, and he's super smart. And I actually met him through my friend Blake Robbins, and I think that he's onto something really big there. Or even what David Dobrik's doing with disposable camera. I mean, that's really, really cool to see. And then whether or not it works will actually be based on, is there that symbiosis, right? Like, can the creator understand the process of creating, building a team, hiring people, like managing, like even getting in the bug database? I mean, that's when you know you're really doing the work. When you're like sitting in the bug database arguing whether this should be fixed in this release or the next release, right? And you know, you're probably doing it now. So.
Yeah, I'm already there. We've completely, because, you know, the world is pretty overwhelming right now, but we've gotten to a place where we've stripped everything away and, okay, it's cool to have all of these 12 half-baked features, but let's literally strip everything down and go feature by feature. Start with the most important thing that we've been interviewing people, and there's a consensus. Okay, this is obviously the most important thing, so we'll start there. Get that perfect, move on to the next one. And it's helped us to just break it down, and because it all seems so big when you're in it. It seems scary.
It's hard.
And you start, you know, really questioning yourself, like, oh my God, are we building the right thing? What is going on?
Those are the right questions though, right? And then the way you answer it is like put it in front of a user, and they'll just, you know, the hardest part though is like sitting in front of a user and trying to get them to tell you what they really think, because everyone's so polite, actually.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Except me, when I go on Twitter all the time, you know this, I will tweet Notion like twice a day. Hey, fix this. Hey, here's an idea. Hey, and they're a really good example of people. They're always on anywhere and they respond really quickly. They make you feel heard. So I think when it comes to customer service, that's huge, is just making the user feel heard. You know,
there's this great tweet from the founder of Zoom from last year before they IPO'd, where he's in the thread just like getting, you know, oh, what version of Windows were you using? Like he's literally doing it on Twitter.
I love that.
It's like, of course it's a $100 billion company, right? Like they built something, they built a culture and like a whole organization that's built around this being awesome.
Mm-hmm. So what made you start a YouTube channel? Here you are with, you know, you're in venture, which is a very exciting world, lots of money, talking with founders, trying to build things, but at the same time, I feel like there is a desire to keep it, you know, a little close to your chest. Don't share everything. You know, you have secrets. You have, you're making essentially value. You're building value off of having that unique advantage or that unique info that you have and not a lot of other people have. So why start a YouTube channel? and why share more.
I mean, VC itself sort of started that way. It's like this cloistered, not very diverse world that is basically money, right? Like, and then even me being a VC is actually a strange thing because like I started as an engineer. I didn't study finance. Like I had no intention of doing any of that stuff. But what happened, the thing that changed my life was actually a guy named Paul Graham. So he was also an engineer and he wrote these books, Hackers and Painters. And he wrote an essay that I remember where he said, he didn't say in the essay Garry, but it felt like that to me reading his essays. You weren't meant to have a job. Right. You could go work at these big tech giants and they'll just like take advantage of you. Like they need you more than you need them. And that really spoke to me. That helped me realize, oh, this is actually how the world works, right? Like the world wants you to be pacified. The world wants you to stay where you are. It wants to like commodify you into like a worker, right? Like into a resume, like to compress you down into like a single 140 character line, right? Those essays taught me, hey, I don't have to be that way. And then now realizing, so I actually met Casey Neistat. So through Alexis, he came by the office and I knew of him and it was really great to meet him. But then I saw how our interns interacted with him, they were, college students, they were 20 and they walked up to him like they were friends. And I was like, and that was sort of, and now like it's clearly what is happening today. Like that's why it's so powerful. It's a little weird though. Obviously, I'm sure this happens to you on the street in New York City all the time. It's
it
like
can get
people
weird,
just walk up to you.
But
right?
The majority of it is good because I always say I wouldn't even call it fame, but I say internet fame is the best kind because you're not a celebrity. You're not like your life isn't being affected by people quote unquote bothering you, but there's legitimately people coming up to you, whether it's in the streets or wherever you are, being like, I appreciate what you create. That just actually gave me goosebumps.
Yeah,
like
which is cool.
That is awesome. There's weirdos.
Now I want
don't be a
everyone
weirdo,
to have that.
But yeah.
Yeah, don't be a weirdo, please.
90% of it is awesome though.
And so, yeah, I mean, I saw that and it's like, I mean, on the flip side, it's so important to be able to tell your story and to have a direct, like I love doing weekly vlogs today because I get to have like time with, I don't know, 1,000 random strangers. I'm actually very early in my YouTube career. I feel like I've only been doing it for 8 or 9 months. I have the gear of someone who has been doing it for years.
Your gear game. And we kicked off this podcast talking about your setup and my setup. I am very impressed. Very impressed. Because
coming from you, it means a lot.
No, of course. Because I just got to the level of using my fancy camera, my fancy audio to not only record, but also to, put it through Zoom. So now the person on the other end can see that too. I just arrived to that point. But the fact that you're already crushing that game is awesome.
Oh man, I got my softbox. I love
it.
I have my sideline over here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I got my visual interest. I got the full bokeh. This is like f1.2. So.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you're basically a YouTuber.
Yeah,
Watch out, VC. Like, who needs to be a venture capitalist? You'll be a full-blown YouTuber in no time.